Dear students, today we shall discuss one of the basic concepts of economics, that is human wants. I am Sri Sarath Kumar Swai, Associate Professor and Head, Department of Economics, KVDF College, Nirakarpur. Let us discuss the important features and the classification of human wants. So now we can see that what is the meaning of want according to the common man. The common man thinks that want means when he feels the absence of a particular commodity, it is taken as his want. So feeling the absence of a commodity or a goods is usually taken as wants in the common sense. But however, in economics, this meaning is not acceptable. In economics, want is something different. You see, we have desires. But in economics, only effective desires are accepted and they are considered as wants in economics. So here question arises, what is desire? What is effective desire? And how effective desire is called wants in economics. Desires are the ordinary dreams for goods, commodities in the minds of the human being. But that desires can be effective if it is supported by the capability or the ability to buy it, willingness to buy it, and at what price the things to be buy or to be bought, and when things to be purchased. If all these four conditions are found with any desire, then that desire becomes an effective desire. And that effective desire is accepted or is considered want in economics. So this is what the difference between desire or effective desire or the meaning of want in economics. Let us see, human beings have unlimited wants such as food, clothing, shelter, education, entertainment, leisure, etc. When one want is fulfilled, immediately other wants grow up. This session, we will talk about the basic characteristics of human wants. After completing this session, you will be able to know or to explain the meaning of want and needs, explain how wants arise and grow, and you can understand that all wants cannot be satisfied. And also, you will be able to know the nature and characteristics of the human wants. So let us have some idea about the needs and wants. The comparison is given in the table between the needs and wants. Needs means things that are required to survive and live adequately, and want things excluding the ones counted as needs. It includes the things which one desires to possess. So usually needs are a necessity, wants are the desire or the effective desire, needs are the essentials, and wants are the non-essentials sometimes. And the common examples of needs are food, housing, clothing. Whereas you can take the example of wants like expensive clothes, eating out at the out a fancy expensive restaurant. So situational example also you can take. A person is feeling thirsty and needs to drink water. This is the example of need. A person is feeling thirsty and wants to sip a banana shake. So this is what you call as want. So you can see that wants and needs, they are well projected on the table. Then question arises, why human want? Discussion is very much important in economics. You see, this human want is the starting point of all our economic analysis. It means due to the existence of human wants, all economic activities are being done. Had there been no wants, so there would have been no economic analysis or activities. So as wants are present, so ultimately it is responsible for all economic activities and for the growth of all economic analysis. So this human want is very much important and the originating point on which all other economic aspects developed. So let us see, human beings has many desires which accumulate into wants. There is no end to human wants. Some wants are to meet basic necessities of life, and some are make life more comfortable and luxurious. So wants are a part of our living. They arise with the birth of a man. It means we have come to this earth the moment we take our birth, we are with wants, and these wants will be always with us till our death. So we are starting from our birth till death, surrounded with wants. Let us see, in the old age, man in ancient times was satisfied with some limited wants. He was moving in the forest and drinking water from the stream, plucking fruits from trees, or eating animals' flesh to satisfy hunger. So he had limited wants, which were related to food, shelter, and clothing. Over a period of time, with the progress of the civilization and society, these wants have grown and have been growing day by day. So let us see what are the characteristics of human wants. It means what are the nature of human wants, which are very much related and connected with our wants. The first thing is human wants are unlimited. It implies, it means that human wants are countless, numberless. It is infinite. We cannot count them, we cannot number them, and they are just can be compared with the waves of the ocean. You see, when some waves are coming and dashing on the seashore, it does not mean that there is no waves anymore in the sea. Some new waves are again cropping up. Like that, human wants are always closing due to our effort, and some new ones are also cropping up. So that is why it is called human wants are unlimited. Human beings always live in a stage of dissatisfaction. It is because he is not able to satisfy all his wants. The reason is, to satisfy all his wants, resources are required, and these resources are not available plentifully or in the unlimited amount with him. In one hand, he has unlimited wants. On the other hand, he has limited resources. So that is why always a man lives in a stage of dissatisfaction. When one want to get satisfied, another arises. All human beings undergo this process continuously. This leads to emergence of a larger number of wants, one after the other. The cycle never ends. And so one can say human wants are not limited. And want for a man ends only after his death. This endless circle of wants continues throughout our life. For example, a person who has never used a fan would wish to have a fan. When this want is satisfied, he would wish to get an air cooler. Once these wants are satisfied, then he would go to for an air conditioner and so on. Thus, we see wants never come to an end. It is a continuous process. So, it is concluded that whatever may be the reach of a man, richness of a man, or capacity of a man, he cannot satisfy all his wants during his lifetime. So, wants are unlimited and wants are always with the persons, and all wants cannot be satisfied. But we can see that want is satiable with respect to time, place. It means a single want is satiable, a particular want is satiable. That means though human wants are limitless, but a particular want, a single want is having limit or it has an end. On one hand, human wants are infinite, we have already told. But on the other hand, it is possible to satisfy a single want when all our effort, all our time, all our fund will be devoted for it. So, for example, if a man is thirsty, he can satisfy his thirst by taking one, two, or three glasses of water, and after that, he does not want water at that point of time. So, that want is satisfied at that moment. But it may again appear. So, it is said the another character, some wants arise again and again. It means repeatedly or recurringly, some wants are coming up. When we satisfy those wants, at that moment, those wants are satisfied and fulfilled. But however, after a gap of time or after some interval of time, again those wants recur. If they are satisfied once, it does not mean that they are satisfied forever. So they arise again after a certain period of time. We eat food and hunger is satisfied. But after a few hours, we again feel hungry and we have to satisfy our hunger again with food. Therefore, hunger, thirst, etc. are the ones which occur again and again, and that can be taken into example as the ones which arise again and again. Wants are complementary. These characteristics of human wants implies that wants are closely related. There are certain wants which are closely related to each other, closely connected to each other. It means when we want a particular commodity, the want for other commodity arises. So with the joint or simultaneous fulfillment of those wants, we can satisfy our wants. So it is not possible to get ourselves satisfied by using a single good. The very nature of most of the goods make it necessary to use them in combination, means jointly. For example, to own a car or motorbike according to one's own financial capacity is one of the important want for most of the individuals. But mere owning a vehicle does not give full satisfaction. It requires fuel to run the vehicles. So, the want for vehicle or car ultimately connected with the want for fuel or petrol or diesel. So, petrol or diesel and car, these two wants are the example of complementary wants. Wants are competitive. You see, wants are usually arising at the brain level, at the mindset of the human being. But however, these wants are always competitive in nature. It means wants are always struggling. They are fighting with each other to be satisfied fast. The reason is that a person knows that he has limited fund, limited resources. He cannot support to all his wants. So always each particular want is putting pressure on the human being at the mental level, at the mindset to be satisfied fast. So it is said human wants are not sitting quiet or calm in the minds of the human being. Rather, they are always competitive in nature. The competition among the wants are to be satisfied fast. So this competition is an ongoing process and it is going on in the minds of the human being. That is why sometimes due to this competitiveness of wants, sometimes the consumers or an individual becomes pressurized and imbalanced. That means he uh, couldn't take the proper decision which wants to be satisfied fast and which is to be kept aside. So a person has several wants at the same time. Each person has limited money. One cannot satisfy all wants at a particular time. Thus, based upon the need, most pressing wants gets priority for satisfaction. Hence, each want is in competition with the other. The reason is to be satisfied fast. He satisfies the most urgent and important wants and postpones many others to be satisfied in future. Wants change with people, place, and time. This characteristic tells that with the change of individual, of a place, of time, wants are also changing. It is due to the human psychology for a single individual wants go on changing. You see, the want for all the peoples, the want for all the individuals are not same. So a cigarette may be a want for a smoker, but it is not a want for a non-smoker. And a khaki dress is a want for a policeman, but a uniform is a dress which is required for a school-going students. So want differs or varies from individual to individual. Like this, want also changes when there will be change in place. Suppose you are now in summer in Odisha, so you don't require the warm clothes like blankets, sweaters, etc. But if we'll move or change the place to the cold areas like your Darjeeling, Simla, then there immediately your want will be changed. You will need those things which you do not want in Odisha. So want changes according to the change of a place. Likewise, with the change of time, want is also changing. So in winter, we require certain things. We love the hot items. We want tea, coffee. But in the summer, we want cold drinks, sarbat, lassi. It is because due to the change in time. So with the change in time, with the change in place, with the change in person, these wants are also changing. So as a young individual, person might want to lead a luxurious life and strive hard to achieve that. Later in the life, one want peace of mind. At the same time, wants vary across the individuals of same age and group also. Next point is that wants are alternative. And this point tells that a particular want can be satisfied or can be fulfilled in a alternative ways. That means it has several options by picking up which we can satisfy that particular want. There are several ways of satisfying a particular want. If we feel thirsty, we can take soda, sarbat or lassi in summer and tea or coffee or hot milk in winter. There are different alternatives open to us to satisfy a single want. The final choice depends on their relative prices and the money at our disposal. So, this characteristic tells us that there are certain wants, their nature as such, which can be satisfied in a variety of way. That means we have to choose basing on our capability. Next characteristics, let us discuss what are influenced by our income, salesmanship and advertisement. It implies that with the change in income, when income grows, wants are also increasing. When income falls, people are reducing their wants. And when people are coming across the advertisement through radio, television, papers, their wants are being multiplied. So wants are always influenced. Their number is also changing with the size of our income, with the contact of the advertisement and salesmanship. So more wants can be satisfied by the higher income group and poor man cannot satisfy more wants. It seems that the rich man can satisfy more wants because of his high income. So we can say that with the size of income, the size of wants is also depending. And with coming contact with the advertisement, salesmanship, we are also able to multiply our wants. So wants are being influenced by these things. Let us see wants increase with the progress of society. This feature tells us that with the progress of civilization, due to the invention, discoveries, and the progress of the science and technology, some new products are coming up, and we come to know about those products. It is because of the growth of the civilization. So, when due to the technological advancement, we come contact with those new items, new products. Our wants are also being influenced, and they are also increasing day by day. So we can say here that the progress of civilization, the progress of society is responsible for the growth of our wants. For example, with the advancement of civilization, the demand for radio, cinema, television, motor cars, and other modern amenities goes on increasing. Some wants get converted into habits. It tells that there are certain wants. If they are to be fulfilled repeatedly again and again, they usually turn into habit. Take the example of taking cigarette, drinking liquor. These habits are only possible if those wants are satisfied repeatedly, and after a repetition they will turn into habit. So addiction of tea, coffee with most of the individual in the morning is also the example of this kind of characteristics of human wants. Then the next characteristics of human wants we can explain, that is wants are the result of customs and tradition. So you see, we live in the society, we care to the society, we are very much aware about the social customs and traditions. Sometimes, even if we do not want certain things at our individual level, at our personal level, but due to the social compulsion and the customs and traditions, we want those things. And these kind of wants are usually seen during the marriage ceremony and other festivals, that the society needs certain things to be fulfilled. That is why we are the slaves of the customs and the traditions. Many of our wants are conventional and they are dictated by the society to us. Where we like it or not, we have to spend a lot of money on social ceremony. We can give an example here, that during a marriage ceremony we use the Bhaskar Mali and the Makut for both the Bara and Kanya. So they are required because of the social requirement. So we have to go for those things. Without having those things, if we will have the marriage ceremony, then society will laugh at us. And with the fear of the social reaction, we usually fulfill those wants which society demands. That is why it is said wants are the result of social customs and traditions. Then we will see the importance of characteristics of wants in economic theory. I have already told you that want is the starting point, and from this point all other economic analysis develops. So the characteristics of human wants have given birth to so many important laws in economics. For instance, we have already discussed that a single want is satiable, and this characteristic particularly gives birth to the law of diminishing marginal utility, which is a fundamental law in economics, which says that every successive or additional unit of a commodity consumed has less and less utility. This is one of the fundamental laws of economics on which are based several other economic laws. Likewise, the other characteristics that human wants are competitive in nature is also giving birth to the another law which is known as the law of substitution or the law of equimarginal utility. That means this competitive nature of the human wants tells us that how with our limited resources or fund we can have maximum benefit or maximum welfare by satisfying our wants. So the law of substitution gives us the way or the method how to judiciously use our limited resources to arrive at the maximum satisfaction. And this has drawn from these particular characteristics of human want, that is the competitive nature of human wants. So let us see, human wants are satiable. That means a particular want is satiable, number one, and so many laws are coming out of it. The laws of diminishing marginal utility, law of demand, consumer surplus, elasticity of demand, principle of progressive taxation. Number two character, human wants are competitive. We have the law of substitution, I have already told you. Then here we have to say that how human wants are very much important, and it is the very originating point for all our economic analysis and growth. So this is all about the characteristics of human wants. Here only I can say one point more, that human wants usually, though unlimited, but we give more importance to the present wants than the future wants. And the wants which are very much urgent and they are important presently for us, we give our attention to satisfy those wants, keeping aside the all other wants. This is all about the characteristics of human wants. Let us see the types of human wants, or what you call as classification of human wants. Usually, human wants can be classified into three broad categories, like necessary wants or necessaries, comfort wants or comforts, luxuries or luxury wants. Again, these necessary wants can be again subdivided into three categories, like necessary of life, or what you call as a necessity of existence, necessary of efficiency or necessary for efficiency, and conventional necessary or social necessary. You see, what is necessity of life or necessity for existence? Human beings require certain basic things for their existence. It is difficult to survive without them. These include basic necessities of life, namely food, clothing, and shelter. So necessity for existence means to keep our body, soul together. The wants which is very much important to be satisfied, they are taken in this category. Next is necessity for efficiency. Efficiency means the capacity to work. So some wants are of such nature that human beings can live without them. They increases the efficiency, means the working capacity. A table and chair are necessaries for the efficiency of a students. Having these, he will be able to read and write better. So those ones, by satisfying which we can work better and our productivity can grow, they are called the necessity of efficiency. The necessity of convention, or what I have already told you, social necessary. That these are the things which are necessary due to the customs, traditions. So they are necessary because of the compulsion of the society. So human being is a social animal. These are the things which we are forced to use either by the social customs or because the people around us expect us to do so. So adoption of these rules give rise to conventional human wants. So social necessaries are usually taken during the time of social observations like social festivals, marriage, then thread ceremony, etc., etc. For example, we dress according to our station in life and in a manner acceptable to the people. Then comforts. Let us see comfort wants. In order to live a more pleasant and comfortable way, human beings go for additional wants. After obtaining necessity for existence, one goes for purchasing comfortable things. Fan is necessary of efficiency in a classroom, but air condition is a comfort. So comfort wants usually makes life more easier and comfortable. In order to distinguish between a comfort and necessary of efficiency, we may say that the benefit from the former is less than the money spent on it, whereas the benefit in health and efficiency from the comfort is greater. Luxury. Luxury wants makes life more enjoyable, but from the economic standpoint, it is said it makes life lazy and lethargic. Human beings are still not satisfied with comforts. They still go for obtaining luxuries. It is not possible to categorize wants into a fixed category, either as necessity, comfort, or luxury. It depends upon the preference, living standard of the person, stage of economic development of a country, time period, etc. So, the division or the classification of human wants into necessary, comfort, luxury is not rigid, rather it is flexible with the passage of time, with the passage of with the progress of economic development, with the change in the living standard of the persons, and with the change in the income of the people. Sometimes a comfort may come into the category of necessity, and a luxury may come into the category of your comfort. It is due to the progress of the society. A mobile was a luxury in the past, but now it is probably a necessary item for the people. They are unnecessary, and one cannot lead a healthy and useful life even without them. Money spent on comfort beings some compensation, while the expenditure on luxury brings negligible return. So then question arises whether the consumption of luxury is justified, or we will go for the luxury items or not. Here we can say, as I have already told you, it all depends on the economic conditions, the income level, the progress of the society, the economic development of the society, and so many other factors. But however, production of articles of luxury creates employment and is good for the trade and industry of a country. Expenses on luxury transfers wealth from the rich to the poor. This transfer of wealth brings about a more even distribution of wealth. The production of luxury goods adds to the skill of the workers. It means it encourages the art and culture of the society. The desire for luxury acts is a stimulant to the new inventions, new labor saving devices, and the new types of goods. It thus makes for technical and industrial progress. So, from these points, if you will look, then it is justified. But from the standpoint of the economic development, the economic condition of a country like India, if you will examine the consumption of luxury, then we can say no, the consumption of luxury in those countries like India should not be encouraged. Why? Because a majority of the people they are not able to satisfy their basic necessities. That means the necessary of life, necessary of efficiency are not being fulfilled by most of the people. So the resources of the country should not be diverted for the production of those luxury goods. Rather, those resources should be utilized for the fulfillment of mass wants. So, consumption of luxury is justified or unjustified, that depends on the ground reality, and we have to examine it very carefully. Okay, many thanks.